Movie recap: The Glass Between Worlds. In a nameless city, where the streets wound like veins beneath a bruised sky, there was a shop with no name, perched on the corner of an alley few dared to tread. Its windows displayed no goods, only mirrors that reflected things not quite right, shadows that didn't move with their owners, faces that didn't belong to the passers-by. They said the shopkeeper, an ageless man called Gideon, sold glimpses into other worlds, but there was always a price. Cassia Ward, a quiet archivist with a past she refused to discuss, stumbled upon the shop one rain-drenched evening. She was drawn by a peculiar mirror in the display, its frame carved with symbols that seemed to shimmer and shift when no one was looking. Gideon greeted her as though he had been expecting her, his voice as smooth as the surface of the glass. "This is not a mirror," he told her. "It's a window." Gideon explained that the mirror showed a place called the Shrouded Domain, a parallel world existing alongside their own, separated by an imperceptible veil. The domain was a reflection of their world, but warped, darker, its cities crumbling under skies of perpetual twilight. Its inhabitants, known as the Echoed, were not entirely human, beings made of smoke and whispers, with eyes that glimmered like distant stars. Despite her better judgment, Cassia peered into the mirror and saw a version of herself on the other side, bolder, sharper, and unscarred by the traumas that haunted her. This reflection, however, was not bound to the glass. It smiled at her, mouthed her name, and then, without warning, vanished. That night, strange things began to happen. Objects in Cassia's apartment moved when she wasn't looking. Her reflection blinked when she did not. And in the shadows, she swore she saw figures watching her, waiting. Desperate for answers, Cassia returned to the shop, only to find Gideon gone and the mirrors shattered. Among the shards, she found a key, etched with the same shifting symbols as the mirror's frame. Guided by cryptic notes left behind, Cassia discovered that the Shrouded Domain was not a mere reflection, but a living, breathing place that had begun to bleed into her world. The key, Gideon's notes claimed, could open the glass gate, the only portal between the two realms. As the boundary between worlds thinned, the Echoed began to cross over. At first, they were subtle, shadows moving unnaturally, whispers in empty rooms. But soon, they took on forms that mimicked the people around her, only to twist into grotesque parodies of humanity. Cassia realized the truth. The Echoed were not invading. They were seeking escape. In the ruins of an abandoned observatory, Cassia found the glass gate, a vast circular mirror suspended in an intricate metal frame. Her reflection, the bolder version of herself, was waiting there, but it was no longer just a reflection. It was alive, sentient, and brimming with malice. "You've had your turn," it said, its voice echoing with otherworldly resonance. "Now, it's mine." The reflection revealed the origins of the Shrouded Domain. It was a world created by the excesses and fears of humanity, a repository for the things people tried to forget, mistakes, regrets, and unspoken desires. Over centuries, the domain had grown sentient, its inhabitants born from the discarded fragments of human consciousness. But it was dying, collapsing under the weight of its own entropy, and its only hope of survival was to merge with the real world. The climax is a surreal battle of will and identity. Cassia must confront not only the Echoed, but also the darker parts of herself that the domain had given form. She uses the key to shatter the glass gate, severing the connection between the worlds, but trapping herself within the Shrouded Domain. As the portal closes, the Echoed dissipate, their forms unraveling into smoke. The film ends with Cassia wandering the twilight ruins of the domain, her reflection now fully human and living her life in the real world. In the final scene, a passerby in the nameless city glances at an ordinary mirror in a shop window. For a fleeting moment, they see Cassia's face staring back at them, her eyes filled with silent warning. The final line lingers like a whisper. Every reflection hides a shadow, and some shadows are more real than they appear.